Good morning. Sun is just coming up. Now, usually I say I didn't time it like that, but you know, about I guess maybe 2 minutes ago, just before I pushed the record button, I was thinking, you know, that the sun's going to come up any second now. Maybe I should start my video right now. Well, yeah, that is pretty. Anyway, yesterday afternoon and evening, I did come back to the model table. I painted the barrels. I only did one barrel on camera. It was just too awkward to try and, you know, do it on camera. So I just did the one. But we'll take a close look, and it turns out that this paint, I don't know, it might have been a mistake, but this, you know, as I replied to one of the viewers, it is what it is. Now, I know that most of the parts are still on the rotator, and I could, you know, repaint everything a different type of gray, but I think I'm going to leave it like it is. When you look at it from arm's length, it's not too bad. It is very metallic looking. It gives you the impression that the barrels are metal instead of plastic. And some of the other little parts that I painted that color, like for instance the crane and so on, I think it is going to look all right, especially when we see it in relation to everything else. But when you look at this paint up close, it does not look good. It looks, as one of the viewers put it, it looks like everything's drenched in oil, and it kind of does. It's got a I just don't know what to say. It just well, let's just roll back and see how we got to this place. Okay, I think that should work. I have thinned out probably 1.5 jars of our number 66, and I have now used the last of the Tamiya thinner. So, yeah. You know, I was looking at this container, and it's kind of odd. I do not see a recycling symbol on it. So I would have thought that this kind of plastic you could recycle, but possibly because it has to be made in such a way that it will not slowly dissolve from the whatever you put in it, well, in other words, the thinner, it's not really recyclable. I just found that interesting. Okay. Now remember, don't try and refocus when you're on wide angle. Yeah, that should work, as long as I don't touch the focusing ring. That was sure stupid. I can't believe I did that. And what's even more amazing is it's hard to believe it took me so long to figure out what went wrong. Okay, now, got myself 2 brand new latex gloves here. I should be able to do an extra good job, right? I guess you wanted to be zoomed in a bit. Sorry about that. Maybe it'd be smart to do the underside first. We'll see. I broke the ladder. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to fix that later, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to do a little bit of touch-ups here. Too bad about our little ladder. Well, I'm gonna have to do some touch-ups. Besides the ladder, and here's what happened with the ladder. You might remember, at least I think it was on video, that I took the ladder and I set it on the rotator. And then I forgot I'd done that when I went to put the rotator out of the way under the table. I guess the ladder fell on the floor, and about 5-10 minutes later when I'm thinking, where's the ladder? Oh yeah, I put it on the rotator. Well, I found it on the floor. I hadn't stepped on it, but when I was picking it up, it was, I guess it got itself kind of bent out of shape a little bit. I don't think I'm going to even bother trying to put it back on. The reason being is that the ladder is going to be on the inside of the turret, between the turret and the superstructure. And it's a nice little detail that would have been nice if it was there. Now it looks like I see four of the 6. Obviously, I lost another one at some time. I was pretty sure that I'd put ladders on all 6 of these little turrets. Anyway, my plan now is to paint the barrels the number 56. I think that the barrel will look good. It'll contrast. I think it'll be believable. So I'm going to try and do all the barrels of all the guns that way. And a lot of them already are, if you remember all those little pieces. And by the way, there was between 65 and 70 little pieces there that we've already painted. It's hard to believe, but there was. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens the rest of the day here. My neighbor's going to be coming over for coffee pretty soon. What do we got here? 2:13. He's going to be here at 3:30. So I might go at this a little later this evening. Maybe we'll paint the barrels. Maybe we won't. Anyway, we'll see you when we see you. Okay, it is early evening, and my neighbor has come and gone, and we will not be having coffee now until Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now, what I did here probably about 15-20 minutes ago was
on the side of one of these smaller turrets and sort of on the back of one of the other smaller turrets, it was a little bit on the thin side. In fact, you could almost, in fact, you could see plastic uh, showing through, sort of like the ends of the barrels are here. I deliberately did not paint that or try to spray it because I knew I was going to be painting it with a brush a different color. So I took this brush here and I brushed it, and there is no question about it. If anybody's wondering, there's no question about it. The airbrush does a much smoother job, um, and it's a lot faster. However, I also have to tell you, you're going to be prepared to use approximately, I'm guessing, as much as 10 times as much paint because a lot of the paint goes through into the spray booth. Well, it depends on what you're spraying, of course. If you're spraying a large surface like the hull, which we will be, or the deck, then I would imagine that then you probably get 80% of your paint goes on the part. But these smaller parts, the spray just goes right through all and out the other side. Well, you saw it happening. Um, anyway, I'm just sort of wondering now about our ladder here that I bent, and I'm just sort of wondering, should I try and straighten it out, or I'll put the macro lens on. I'll show you. It's bent on the ends and it's got a bit of a bow in it. I don't think I'm going to bother, but I'll stick the macro lens on so that you can see what happened. Now, perhaps I should have found something a little bit different other than Andy's bender here to put this on, because it's sort of blending into the background, isn't it? Anyway, I think you get the idea. Yes, I probably could straighten it, but is it going to be worth it for something that might be out of sight anyway? Yeah, that was too bad, though. Okay, you can stop poking anytime. Now, I've been trying to figure out which is going to be the best way for painting these. I'm going to leave them on the rotating block. These smaller ones are just stuck on with double-sided tape. I think if I'm careful, I won't knock them off. However, if you will notice here, see if I can get the angle just right, that oh, by the way, the barrels are still loose on these ones. And when I pick the barrel up and elevate it like this, it comes out from the turret a little bit further. And then when it goes back down, it's a little bit more hidden. So I think the time to try and paint these is when they are up, especially from the underside. Now, mind you, the underside isn't going to get seen anyway. Okay, let's get ourselves recomposed here and see if we can do one of these on camera, and then I'll do the remaining 5. There are 6 of these things. This is the one that we broke the ladder off of. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now from what I remember of this paint, it does not brush well, but maybe the paint that's on the barrels is going to act like a primer. So here's a case of where maybe priming the plastic would have worked better. And as I said, I'm going to try and do this on camera here. And it's wanting to fall off of. Okay, now. And this paint, it does have a tendency to settle, like the pigment goes to the bottom. Now, let's get my jar out of the way here. Now, how do I get in there? Well, maybe I should be using the smaller brush to try and get in there. And that's going to be a job maybe for that I'm going to have to do off camera. On the other hand, maybe not. Okay, well, I did one barrel on camera. I'm going to just go ahead now and try and do the rest. I think that something like that, when the barrel is down, looks like I got bubbles forming on there though. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I think that's going to look all right once it's dry. I'm going to have to do the other barrels off camera though. This is just too awkward. Sorry about that. And then we'll take a nice close look at them afterwards. Okay, we're going to let these dry now. I did the big guns last, and they are probably quite wet, or at least sticky. And I think they might change in texture slightly as they dry. And then also on the front of there's a couple of places on the front of the big turrets where I accidentally got this darker gray on the lighter gray. So I'm going to have to take my little brush here and touch it up afterwards. But that's going to have to be in the morning. Give this a chance to dry overnight and see how it looks. So we'll see you in the morning.
Well, it is morning, and it seems to me I said we'll take a close look. Now, if we want to take a close look, we're going to have to use the macro lens. And as you know from experience, when we use the macro lens here, things look their worst. It shows up every little flaw. And I can well imagine this paint, as one of the viewers said, looks awful. Okay, we are focused on the surface of the center barrel right here. And that paint leaves an unusual granulated type of surface, doesn't it? Yeah, this is about as close as I can get without putting on the super macro. But I mean, who looks at it even this close? At a distance, it actually looks all right. In the comments from yesterday's episode, one of the viewers reminded me that if I don't hurry up and get on with this model building, I'm not going to have anything to pass on to my relatives, or something to that effect. I'm talking way too much about my camera. Well, he forgot to mention the rabbits. Anyway, this is sort of a repeat from yesterday. Rabbit comes by, no carrots. Old Ron goes out there and drops off the carrots. Very few minutes later, along comes a rabbit. Well, I gotta talk about what I'm interested in. Yeah, let's move on. Okay, now the little boats. And I think I'm going to be painting them by hand. yeah, there's just too much that I'm going to be wanting to do different colors. The hull will be using the number 19, and I haven't decided yet about the deck. I think the little, I was going to say smokestack, well, it is sort of a smokestack on this one right here. I'll probably use the 56 again, even though we didn't like it, because it does seem to look good on something that was probably metal. Well, undoubtedly it was metal. Yeah, what an unusual looking little smokestack. That must have been a funny looking little boat. Well, maybe back in the 20s when it was designed, it wasn't, like 100 years ago when it was designed, it probably looked okay. Anyway, folks, this is all going to be in tomorrow's episode. So thanks for watching, everybody, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.